Hi and welcome back to the Tackle King fishing channel, and today I'm going to be making up some gummy worms and gummy lures, and tomorrow I'll take them out fishing in the next video and see how they go. But I've done the recipe previously on this channel, and it's gone down quite well, and today I'm going to do it again, and this time I'm going to be using these top pour lure moulds, and then the leftovers will go into those gummy moulds that I used in the last recipe. Now these top pour lures moulds, you can buy them off eBay, and they have various different types and sizes, and you also do creature baits as well. And it's a top pour mould in that you don't need any compression or syringe to fill out the mould. You just pour on the top, you get a flat edge, and then you get your ridged and your paddle tail at the end. These are made really for people who make their own plastic lures, and that's quite easy to do as well. You can buy liquid plastic and colour it and scent it and add glitter and then just pour out your own moulds. You can also get injection moulds, but injection moulds I don't think work very well with gummy baits, but I haven't tried it. I will at some stage, but this time it's just making up 3 paddle tails made out of biodegradable gummy recipe, and the rest will just go in there. And then tomorrow we'll go out and do a bit of lure fishing or drop shot fishing on the River Usk and see how they hold up. But let's see what we need first. So let's look at the ingredients that we're going to need. First thing we're going to do is use some gelatine. Now I'm using pork gelatine. I've just poured them into a container to make it easier to sort of spoon out. But you can buy 1 kilo bags and even bigger. This is commercial grade, which means it's 240 bloom, and that's the strength on the gelatine. It's the stuff that people make the sweets, the gummy bear sweets and fruit pastels and wine gums and the like. This is the strength that you use. Don't use the ones that you buy in the shop. That's just sort of like for jelly. And to get the same sort of consistency, you will have to use a lot more than the recipe says to get that sort of strong gelatine feel. You can buy this eBay, Amazon, anywhere really. Just a commercial grade, 240. This is pork. You can get beef, and you can also get fish gelatine. Pork is normally most economical to buy. That's why I've got this. Not too much. I think it was about £14–15 for 1 kilo. But you can make a lot of rolls with that. So that's the main ingredient. You'll then of course also need some water, and we'll work that out later. And the other thing you need is glycerine. Now I bought a 1 litre glycerine a long time ago. You don't use a lot of it. So I can't remember how much it cost, but this is quite important. You can do without if you're going to use your lures in the next couple of days. So what glycerine does is it stops it from drying out, and it's also an antifungal, antimicrobial. And if you put in glycerine, then you can store the lures at room temperature for weeks, if not months. Without it, they'll only last a couple of days unless you store them in the fridge, and even then it won't last very long at all. So if you want to save more money, go without glycerine, but only make them up the day before or 2 days beforehand. Don't store them because they won't store. If you want to make a bulk patch, you can add glycerine, then store them in an airtight container, and they'll last for weeks, if not months. So that's the second main ingredient. Then I've got some crab flavouring, and that I'm going to add in to attract as an attractant for the fish. I've only got a small one. I don't have much left. I will buy some more, and I'll buy larger quantities to save money. But you can get all sorts of flavours. You can get lugworm, black lugworm, ragworm. You get bloodworm, sardine, mackerel. This one's just a crab flavour. And then you just want some colouring to add some colour to your lure. Now, because I'm fishing on the Usk, yellows and blacks do quite well. That's just a yellow food colouring. But you can use any colouring that you like. I haven't yet tried it with glitter. Might try and add a little bit of glitter because because that's supposed to work quite well, but we'll do that at a later date. So those are the items that you need. Then all you need is a measuring jug, plastic one, because you'll be using a microwave, spoon for mixing up, your tool or moulds, and some measuring items. So let's get on with making it up. Okay, so to make it up, what we're going to be using is, I'm going to do 1 cup, and I'm going to use half cup of water, half cup of gelatine, and 1/4 cup of glycerine. So let's just add this. You can make quite a lot using a half cup. There you go, that's half cup. Maybe I shouldn't have done quite that much, but there you go. Then we're going to add half cup of water. And then we're going to add 1/4 cup of glycerine. Right, so those are your 3 main ingredients that you're going to measure. I'm not going to measure any more ingredients, all the rest is just going to be as it comes. So let's just put that in there. So once we've had those 3, give it a good stir. Get it all mixed together. It should start to go a little bit clumpy and a little bit lumpy. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave it to rest and soak up that water and glycerine for about 10 minutes. So we'll come back in 10 minutes. Okay, so that's about 10 minutes. It's as you can see, it's pretty much solidified up, it's swollen, and it's now ready for the next stage, which is quite solid. It's now for the next stage, which is to be warmed up and microwaved. Now, if you've got a thermostat or thermometer, that would be ideal, but I don't. So what I do, I just heat it up until there's a good head of steam and it's hot to touch, but it's not boiling. In order to activate gelatine, it needs to go over 68 degrees C. If it's below that, if you don't get it up to that temperature, then the gelatine won't set. If it goes over 100 and it starts to boil, you'll break down the molecules and the gelatine won't set. So between 68 degrees C and 100. For me, I can normally tell by a good amount of steam coming off and hot to the touch, but not boiling and not bubbling at all. You don't want it to bubble, it'll trap air bubbles. So let's take it over to the microwave. I normally start off at 30 seconds, then continue doing every 30 seconds until it starts to steam up a little bit, and then I'll drop it down to 20 seconds until it's the temperature level thing's quite right. But if you've got a thermometer, it's 68 degrees or above, preferably a little bit above, maybe at 70, 72. So let's do that, and then we can move on to the next stage. Okay, so that took about 2 minutes in a I think my microwave 750 watt or 800 watts, about 2 minutes. It's hot to the touch, bit of steam coming out, and that's just ideal. So let's give that a stir, and now I'm looking at moving the next amount in, and I'm going to put in colouring next. Don't measure it, I'll just put a good dose of colouring in, maybe about 1/4. That's just normal food colouring. Then give that a stir. Nice yellow colour. And I'm going to put in this crab flavouring. Again, I don't measure it. I'll maybe put in about 1/4 of a bottle, just a really good squirt, that's all. This is normally best done outside because of the smell, as you can imagine. There's a fair old whiff to it. So let's get that stirred up, and now I'm just going to do this one first. Just gently run the gelatin in, including the tail. Oops. And just fill it up. Try and do it fairly slowly, otherwise you get filled up with lots of air bubbles. And then as those filled, let's just do these gummy worms. I bought this one from eBay, Amazon, and them sweet moulds. And as you can see, if you just use half a cup of gelatine and half a cup of water, quarter cup of glycerine, you can get a lot of baits. So you might just want to try and halve the amount, because you got that left, so you could half the amount and still get a good number of done. Now these need to sort of stay to set for about 2 hours before we unpeel them. So let's just give these 2 hours just to unpeel. Okay, so it's been left for a couple of hours just to dry out, so we'll just unmould it. Want to be a little bit careful with these, especially around the tail. Don't pull the tail off. But they come out fairly easily. If you got a little bit too much on the on there like that, then you can just peel it off or use some scissors and cut it off. It's fairly straightforward. So those are the 3 moulds. What I'll do tomorrow, I'm hoping to be able to go tomorrow and test these out and do a video on. But weather forecast is not great. It's thundery showers tomorrow when the tides are best, but we'll go out anyway. I'll test these using a jig head hook and do a bit of traditional sort of lure fishing. And with these, what I'll do with these is I'll just connect them up to a 2-hook flapper, cast them out long distance, and I'll just let these stay in the water and see how long they last in the water. I'll sort of bring them in after 30 minutes and see what they're like. But in the past, I've cast these out, they've lasted 30 minutes, no problem on the hook. These are nice crab flavour, nice colour. They'll just hang there in the water as a bait. So let's get these out. I might trim them up, but there's no real need to. I mean, you've got out of that half cup of gelatin and half cup of water. We've made 20 of these worm baits. I might actually try some drop fishing with these tomorrow as well. So 20 of these gummy worm baits and 3 of the moulded paddle tails. If I had some more moulds, I might get some more of these moulds, might get some larger ones and some creature baits. They're not cheap, they're about £25 for a silicone mould like that. So not cheap, but they do produce some quite good lures. But we'll test them out tomorrow. These come out of the silicone moulds quite quickly, quite easily. If you're a little bit concerned, you can just give it a quick spray of oil before you pour the stuff in. But as you can see, come out real quick, real easy, and it's done. So what I'm going to do, because I'm taking them out tomorrow, I'm just going to put them in one of my bait boxes, and then I can take these down tomorrow. So some great quality, fully biodegradable baits, no plastics, no nasty chemicals, no nothing. The one thing you do have to remember though is storage of these. They'll cope no problem with room temperature. Don't put them in a hot place, don't put them in a car, don't leave them in the sun because they will start to melt and stick together. But generally, on a normal temperature, they'll last a few weeks, if not months. So that's it for today. I will do some more homemade baits videos and get a few more different types of lures so we can go to test those. But until the next video, which is when we'll be trying these out and testing them, tight lines. And please like, subscribe and share if you want to see more like this.